All right. All of you freedom loving boys and girls, men and women, whomever you are, wherever you are, welcome. Centerline Systems. Hey, I hate to say this. As always, I always dance around a little bit at the beginning. Somebody called that fluff. Whatever, just don't use it in the other term or the other sense of that term. All right. Anyway, see there, you can already tell because my brain is all over. So I'm still dealing with a cold. I've been on and off with this thing for 2 weeks. This is just another day where I'm like, man, you got to do the live though, man. You got to do the live. So rally the forces, just suck it up, Buttercup, and get out there and do live. So probably going to be a short live. It's not going to be a loadout. Next Thursday, though, is going to be a loadout. So that would be Thursday, the 21st of November. That is going to be a loadout live. I really like the loadout live comment. So that's what we're going to do. Geez, and I apologize. I still can't cough properly. And matter of fact, we'll talk about this on CLS After Dark tomorrow night. Me and Chappie kind of covering the VA. And I think I'll tell a little bit more of my, woe is me story about my physical situation and my experience in the VA. But back on Centerline here. So if I cough or, man, and I hope I don't throw up. I mean, sometimes the coughing is so bad, it's almost like you're about to throw up. Although that might be good entertainment or not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be a short live. Going to be a giveaway. Got a little giveaway because, if I can't sit here and be entertainment, then I got to find a way for you guys to be entertained. GC, excuse me. Just been horrible. Then when you think you're getting better, boom, and just nasty. Anyway, got a couple announcements to make. Give me 1 second. I got just a few announcements to make. Then we're going to jump into the giveaway. And that's probably going to end it, realistically, guys. I just don't have, and I'm trying to, honestly, and what I've been just trying to do here these last 2 weeks is just take it, punch through as best I can, and then just try to have the weekend just to rest and recuperate and try to get better. Unfortunately, I scheduled these Thursday nights and Friday nights because these are usually kind of fun nights, and you're going to have a little bit more entertainment, but excuse me. Hey, let me read some comments and then we'll jump into it because I already see one or two people I want to give a shout out to. Hey, before I even do that, let me give a shout out to a gentleman I just spoke with on the phone probably 45 minutes ago. Customer had a question, a comment, but great conversation, great guy, and this is why I call everybody. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a mind reader. As shiny as that head is, that is not a crystal ball. But we were having a conversation about something else, and that led into, oh, hang on a second. You've got this. And then as a result of that, we avoided a potential, oh shit, who screwed it? Like a mistake. So I mean it very seriously. If you have questions and comments, reach out, email, text message. If you follow me, I suck at social media, and that probably isn't going to get a whole lot better. I'm trying to use X, Twitter, Instagram, ScrewTube. I mean, they just don't care. They don't give a shit about people. And hopefully, knock on wood, that's going to change now that we got the Dogecoin going in. Hopefully, we'll see what happens there on some things. Yeah, take your Section 230. And if you don't want to live up to the rules yourself, well, we'll just see how those protections work out for you going forward. You want to act like a publisher? We'll treat you like a publisher. I hope that's what happens because this shit's getting just ridiculous. Not throwing anyone under the bus or speaking for anybody, but, I do business with Jack at Black Scout. Matter of fact, got his hat on right here. Great man. Love him. Love working with him, doing business with him and his customers. That poor guy is shadow banned so often and they mess with him. So yeah, but hey, nothing to see here, folks. Move along. All right. Enough of my rambling. We got a handful of people, but I just wanted to give Chad a shout out. He's a real Chad in the good sense of it. Great conversation. And as a result of that, we avoided a possible issue. So reach out. I mean it seriously. That's what I'm here for. I am going to change my voicemail. I know if you've called me and heard my voicemail, I really like it, but I'm going to have to change it going forward because I just get solicitations like there's no tomorrow now. So if you call me, don't leave a message. Call me a second time, don't leave a message. I'm just going to block your number. I hate to say it, but the solicitation shit is just out of control too. So just stay tuned on that. A little, well, here again, comments. Snowshoe Dave. See, I think Gene felt bad because somebody last week or the week before said Gene is always first. Tonight, Snowshoe Dave was first, checking in, ready to go. Big Visk, and I like to see Big Visk. So my software is telling me, Big Visk, that you're watching over on Rumble. I hope that's indeed the case. Good on you right there. Big Visk said he made it, and then we got the accessorizer reporting for duty, sir. Rajo. All right. Alpha Omega Survival Supply. Hey, hey. And good to see you, sir. We got Learn Me Something. Made it to the show. And then Cool TV. Before I do anything, Mr. Cool TV, well, you already said your name in that, so I'll just read your comment and then I'll address a comment or a question to you. Shalom from David, Cool TV from London. Love the bag. Keep picking it up. Even when you're not out in the woods, you just grab the gear and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get it in the woods. That's what he's kind of getting at. Keep picking up. It's great. You've done a beautiful work and a great shout out to you. You have my vote any day. Well, depends on what what office I'm running for. You might not want to vote for me, but thanks, David. And hey, if you can leave me a comment, I actually want to show off your loadout pictures that you emailed to me. So leave me a comment. Let me know if I can share those photos. I thought they were really cool. So I appreciate that. Big Visk, hope you're feeling better. Well, I just had a conversation with somebody else who's pointing out that in the last 2 weeks, I still haven't gotten any brandy to make a hot toddy. So who do I have to blame? Nobody but this guy. And then Alpha Omega. Yeah, it is getting out of hand. Dan checking in. Hey, Dan. Hey, Mark. How you doing, sir? Winner chicken dinner. There's Gene from across the pond with a big woo. See, boys and girls, he's not always first in the classroom with an apple. What the hell's wrong with you folks? Yep. And then Big Vis saying that is the case. He's over on Rumble. I appreciate that. Yeah. So the software is actually showing Rumble. And then I just got the green light from David. Go ahead with the pics. Yeah, it won't show your email address or any of that kind of stuff, sir. It's just going to show the photos when I get to that. I appreciate that. Well, actually, why don't we just do that right now? Because here, we'll just show the loadout videos that David shared with me. And I really seriously mean it. I love that stuff. So if you see me over on Instagram, I think the way forward, to over there, this is the way, to quote the Mandalorian. I'm so shadow banned over on Instagram. I think the only thing I'm going to do is when you guys and gals send me pictures, I'll post them up over on my Instagram channel to give you the shout out for just being an awesome person and taking the time out of your day to either text them to me or send them in a DM or send them in an email. But yeah, Instagram, I mean, you used to be a fun platform. I don't even, if I follow you on Instagram, I don't see it anymore. I literally have to go to people's channels. My feed is so full of crap that I don't care about. And that's all it is. So yeah, way to go, Instagram. So why don't we just jump into that real quickly? So before I forget, let me just share the loadout videos. And the reason I wanted to do this is because we also got the accessorizer in the house. And I really enjoyed doing the loadout video with Dave. Excuse me. I enjoyed doing the loadout video with the accessorizer, John, last week. It's going to be horrible. I apologize. I hope that doesn't, I hope this is a good microphone. I hope it noise cancels quite a bit. But that was a fun video. I like that loadout live, the LOLs. Probably went a little bit long, but this is what we're going to do going forward. Next week is going to be a loadout live, a LOL. It's going to be on the meat bag. But David took the time to send me this some pictures, so I want to show them off here. And as always, you guys will still see me, but I won't be able to see you for just a second. So let me just bounce back and forth here. Gosh, dang it. This is just annoying. Okay, here we go. I'm going to bring this up full screen. So David ordered one of our Mother Canteen carriers and then sent me these pictures. Can I move it from here? Or do I have to go back over to that screen? I bet I got to go back over to that screen. Yeah, so I won't be able to see you, but here we Here we go. Just kind of going through it here. Just a close-up picture that he sent me. This is the first one of kind of some of the gear he's got going on in there. Taking a little step away. Now, the one thing I want to point out, so that was that little grill that you see right there. I've talked about that grill before. It's Purcell Trench. Purcell Trench is no longer in business. They shut down. Now, David sent me the name of a company, and I apologize, David. I wasn't prepared for that tonight. If you do want to know, there is one company that still has some of this smaller trench. It's the smaller grill from Purcell Trench. It's called their Solo, or that's what Purcell Trench called it, their Solo grill. There is a company, I think it's out of Canada. I'll have to go through. David, if you want to send me another email, and then I'll add that in one of my social media pictures, or maybe I'll repost this picture and I'll tag that company. These grills are awesome. They fit inside the rear slip pocket of the mother canteen carrier. Great grills, really lightweight, pretty just badass. So you just see some of the gear, right? So he's just like, this is all the gear. And see, this is the picture I like the best. You know, now not the plate and the stove, the kitchen sink, but you can see everything he's got on a schmog. And so kind of going into like the video we did with John, I mean it seriously. Like, you know, I just always get amazed at how much gear you can get in the gear that we make. And I know that sounds cheesy and stupid, but man, you boys and girls, you know, like are out there crushing it. And I mean, you look at that right there. You know, again, if you can't make it, then you should just stay inside and keep playing Xbox or something. But that's a pretty good, you can get a sense. And I guarantee, David, you can chime in the comments. You know, he can still put stuff inside of those canteen cups. You can double cup it. You can still put things on the bottom. Somebody's trying to call me, whatever, moving on. Just a little close-up picture. You can see some of the gear a little bit closer. That's a little fire starting bellows there under, you know, kind of right by the grill. He's got some keepers for some stuff, Leatherman, you know, some survival tools, compass, little thing on, you know, knots and fishing line. Just another side. I can't comment on whose canteen that is. I can't quite tell. There's a couple different companies that make that more squared off version of the USGI now. Not 100% sure who that is, but again, there's only a handful of companies in China making titanium. I wish Chris at Heavy Cover had his own titanium manufacturing plant, but no one does that. Nobody does that in America, right? Hell, Yeti, you know, oh, made in Texas. No, it's not made in Texas. It's made in China. And I ain't slamming anybody. It's just, this is the problem with industry. This is why we are as effed as we are. You know, everybody outsourced that stuff. And now we don't have the ability to even make freaking, I'm making this up. I was just going to say tires, but you get my point. So, yeah, so there's only like, I think 2 or 3 manufacturers in China that make the titanium, and then they just, you know, outsource it and put your logo on it. So I don't know exactly who that is, but it's probably only one company. Personally, I just still always support Heavy Cover. I'm not a shill for him. I don't get any kickbacks. It was Chris's idea to take the USGI canteen and turn it into a titanium kick-ass, you know, thing of wonder. So go give, you know, Heavy Cover the good judo, right? The good, look at that, loaded up. That's a pretty sexy looking little item right there. Yeah, I like that. Hey, David, you can take that shipping tag off, though, the hanging tag. Well, unless you want to just like have a little free advertisement for me going on, you know, where you are. Another picture of it, a little bit of a close up. Yeah. And, you know, and just even looking at this, you can tell he doesn't even have the front pocket completely loaded out. There's still a lot of room. And then what you can see here, though, I wish I could zoom in. You can see that grill, that Purcell Trench grill, how it nests in that rear slip pocket of the mother. That's a good picture. You can kind of see that just over, well, as you're looking at the picture, the left shoulder of the canteen, you can see the Purcell Trench back there, bikini straps coming over the grill and the shoulders of the canteen carrier. Little taking it back. Okay, there, I think that's pretty good right there. So let me remove this and remove. All right, now let me just see if we had any comments come in on that. Yeah, it says there's some new ones. Give David and anyone else a chance. Yeah, there you go. I like this. I'll just start off with Gene. Gene did comment earlier, but ScrewTube dumped the comment and page. Yeah, way to go. That's because that's how they roll. Okay, thank you, David. So there it is, boys and girls. Here, I'm going to put that up for everybody to see. Canadian Outdoor Equipment Limited. If you want, I do have the website, the URL for it, but you should be able to type that into any browser and figure that out. Canadian Outdoor Equipment. And I saw the interaction that David had with them, and they still do have those grills in stock. They must have had a good supply or got the last of them before Purcell Trench shut its doors. So they are awesome. They're worth it. They're super light. They're great. You could probably get David, chime in on this, if you will. I know you haven't probably gone out and done it, but you have the size, and you're the only person I know in the chat right now who has one. You could get one good size pork chop or steak on there, or 2 hamburger patties, unless you're doing like super Burger King, not, like a full pound burger. But if you're just doing regular, human being sized burgers, see, I just laughed. I don't even know what that means. Some people are like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Human being sized burgers. Yeah, you do you, to each their own. But if you're doing like anything below a quarter pounder, you could probably get two burgers on the grill. Probably, I don't think you could get 6 brats, but you could get 4 brats, probably 6 hot dogs, and then 1 steak or 1 good sized pork chop. David, if you don't mind, chime in on that and let me know what your thoughts are. He's saying that's the Pathfinder canteen. Yeah, that looked like their setup because they've got a 2-cup setup. AVV, well supplied and packed. Yep. Alpha Omega, facts are facts after all. I'm not even sure what I was talking about, but thank you for the comment. I hope learn me something. You cannot even find American-made baseball caps. He said that, unfortunately, I mean, it's not quite true. I mean, go see our previous video. I'm not throwing learn me something under the bus, but I was working very hard with Clint over at Nemesis Camo. There is an American hat company. That's who we wanted to do business with. I ain't going to throw them under the bus, but like, holy shit, it was like pulling teeth to do business with somebody. Like, and I get it, and I shouldn't say that, and I apologize. Like, I don't know their business. Maybe that, in order for them to ramp up and do this, but the MOQs, and we wanted to split it between a couple other businesses. And like, from my aspect, if 4 of you wanted to place an order, if I had you can only get 10 of these. I don't give a shit if there's 10 different people who want it and y'all came together to make the MOQ. We'll figure out the shipping. We'll just take care of it. So that just but there are companies out there, learn me something. They're few and far between, but you aren't wrong there. Gene's giving David a shout out. Great loadout. Gene is chiming in. He just checked that website and said they are still listed in stock at this moment. David's giving me crap. I'm kosher, so I'll go for a 2-inch Texas T-bone. Roger Dodger, my good. Hey, again, you do you, right? Hot dogs, brats, pork chops, hamburgers, T-bone. At the end of the day, though, you just threw down some spades, and you took that trick. So you win, because a T-bone over a brat, yeah, any day of the week. You are correct, sir. All right, that did it for the little loadout kind of video of tonight, trying to still do the loadout stuff. Jeez, I'm so sorry, guys. Give me a second here. Somebody called me last weekend on Saturday, and we've been doing phone tag. And I answered, and this is like, 7 in the morning. And I had said, hey, give me a call. But they called, and I'm like, and you could just hear it in my voice. I'm like, are you happy you called me? I just got done throwing up, and I've got snot running. I'm like, are you happy you called me now? You're like, we're finally making contact. You should probably want to just hang up and go away. So Dan, hey, David, Dan wants to know where the lickies and chewies are in your loadout pictures. Because Dan's got a good point. You got to have lickies and chewies. And then Jim coming in. Just wanted to say, as the owner of one of the first rucks, they are awesome. I absolutely love mine. Been taken out weekly as my deer hunting pack. Hey, Jim, I apologize, sir. I think I dropped the ball. Did you say you wanted a sternum strap? You can leave me a comment here, but honestly, I would appreciate it in the email. I work off of email. So, not making excuses, boys and girls. I know everybody nowadays is glued to these things. That's just, I don't do my business off I take pictures and post on social media. But all of my actual transactions, I got to keep track of it. And so if you send me an email, it's way easier for me to follow up as opposed to a DM over on Instagram or any of that kind of stuff. So Jim, if you don't mind, I think I owe you a sternum strap still. So shoot me an email and let me know if that's correct or not. All right, Gene, hang on. Dan, Gene is giving you a little of a hard time. He's doubling down. You're saying lickies and chewies, and he's saying don't forget blackjack and hookers. I'm gonna let Dan respond to that comment right there. I'm just gonna leave that out there, but there may be something funny coming your way here in a second, Gene. John, the accessorizer, loves the titanium Purcell tent, the Solo. Yeah. Again, they're awesome. Very nice stoves. I mean, very nice grills. Very nice. Very sad to see Purcell Trench go away. Yeah, and I don't know the backstory. I actually tried calling them a couple times and emailing them because I wanted to see if they had any remaining inventory, and I was going to try to buy their remaining inventories just so I could offer it. I don't normally offer accessories on my website, but once I heard they were going out of business, I mean, that's an accessory that, I really would like to have seen stay around. So Jim, I'll send you an email. Okay. So I did. Yeah, no, we all get busy. I don't mean to be passive aggressive or anything, but but once I was like, dude, I think I owe you a sternum strap. So yeah, just shoot me another email and I'll get that tucked in with my belts for next week. And then I'll drop that in the mail for you. And then a final comment. Lickies and chewies don't know that is. So if you were talking about you don't know lickies and chewies? Yeah, that's in America, that's an Army term, David. It's just lickies and chewies just mean food stuffs that you keep in your pocket or in a pouch. So when you're foot marching or if you're whatever you're doing, you're on patrol, if you're doing infantry related or that type of stuff, you don't necessarily have the luxury of sitting down and just eating. I mean, lickies and chewies honestly could be a thing of crackers in your pocket. Generally speaking, though, it's hard candies and gum, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you probably don't want to do that if you're diabetic. Find some other options. All right, 22 minutes. We're going to kind of spin this over to the giveaway. And before I do that, though, so I'm kind of getting ready at the end of, you can imagine it's a business. You got to do end of the year inventory, getting ready for taxes and all that kind of crap, which is just mind boggling to me, but whatever. I know I'd shown this, what I'm about to show you. I know I'd shown it off once before, but I totally forgot about it. And it's hunting season right now. So bad on me. So just some photo shoot sale stuff can ship immediately. If you're interested, email me, and we'll come, and you know the deal. If you tell a good joke, I'll definitely give an even better price. Photo shoot sale items. This is the end of it for this year. Because there's one more thing in photo shoot. But once it comes back, it's already spoken for, and you know who you are. And I apologize, but we forgot some photos and, working with everybody's schedules. But what I'm about to show you, this is the last of the photo shoot sale stuff for the year. First come, first serve. And if it doesn't go, then, roll the dice. Maybe I'll bring it up as a giveaway next year. But so here we go. This is our SRDP. That's the survival rifle deployment pouch. Can be worn, carried, configured a whole bunch of different ways. Go back and see the video on that. This is Coyote Brown with black. So I forgot all about this guy. So pretty sure the SRDP is on the website. We kind of streamline stuff to try to get as many products out before Christmas because I don't want to get yelled at this year. But this guy is available for immediate shipment. So think, your Ruger 1020, or just go back and watch other videos. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that can fit in here. And I'm hoping next year, and more of this will come out, in the CLS After Dark videos talking. I'll be a little bit more forthcoming on some of the things that have been going on with me for the last 5 years. But, knock on wood again, this all kind of is corrected and I can start getting back out and doing stuff. And this will definitely be one of my take-alongs, whether it's for a takedown bow or my 1022. So that's next business day. It could ship next business day, but it's a photo shoot special. The concealment caddies, we don't have those on the website. We'll probably bring them back next year. Just trying to get things going. But I got one concealment caddy in Multicam Classic, and this is a belt loop version, so just belt loops on the back. Then I got one that is Coyote Brown with black, and that's got Molly on the back. So you can run it a belt, or you could attach it to another item, like the front of your meat bag, for example, or the SRDP if you wanted to. And then, not you guys, me. And then I've got 2 in black, right? Chuck Norris, same thing. Belt or Molly on the back. And one of these is going to be the giveaway. All right. So let me just get ready for the giveaway, boys and girls. Yeah, get ready for the giveaway. I'm going to read some questions or comments real quickly. We're going to do the giveaway, and then I might end it with a little bit of a follow-up for the question of the giveaway. But then that's going to kind of wrap it up here tonight. So Good Guy Wear Black, Chuck Norris with Molly in the back, which then you can use as a belt channel or attach to other items. And here's where I think we left off. I think we're talking about candies or something going in the small tray. And then we got the accessorizer chiming in. Or actually, I shouldn't say the accessorizer. If you remember from the live stream, and John didn't know I did this because, I've got the, the magic, keyboard here. And he made that joke about Gimli the dwarf. And so I wrote Gimli in there as his name. Thank God he didn't see that until afterwards. But he said it. He said it himself. So we got John coming in there. Just goes to show, if you see products you love from small business, buy them up quickly. You never know how long it will be available in today's economy. Amen. That's the unfortunate, sad truth. Get it while you can. That Purcell trench totally comes to my mind. I'll just get it later. Yeah, well, they might not be around later. I mean, that's just the way it is. And just on that note, it ain't political. Hey, Donald Trump is he's the president-elect. If you think this economy and this is all just going to somehow magically, turn around, because I don't know what to say, man. We are in such national debt, and the inflation, with this government spending, man. That's like being given a shit sandwich and said, here, turn this into that nice T-bone that, that David wants to eat. It's going to take a lot of hard work, boys and girls. Yeah. Be happy, be proud, hope that this is going to turn around, but there's a lot of hard work and heavy lifting that still needs to take place. This economy isn't just going to turn on, doesn't turn on a dime like a Apache helicopter doing a gun run in Afghanistan. And then we got Gene saying the caddy is awesome. Alpha Omega. Okay, I got you. My coughing. Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks for keying that in there. Obviously a little conscious about that, but Mike is cutting most of it out. All right, got it. And VTech Moonwalker, who tries to come over and watch these things, but almost always has to go back to work or comes in late. Yeah, dude, I'm just sorry, sir. I'm still fighting this cold, and it's just an on and off battle. And we're still going to ramble here for a couple minutes. And hey, but you came in on the perfect time because we're doing a giveaway. One of the concealment caddies. There's 3 concealment caddies available. Anybody wants them? First come, first serve. Tell me a good joke. These are all photo shoot ones. This has got Molly on the back, and then there's, if you didn't see it, there's the SRDP Coyote Brown with black. Yeah, cold suck. Yeah, they do, especially the ones that you just, and we all know what's, back to the small business. Yeah, if you watch tomorrow CLS After Dark, and you'll probably hear the recent things that, going on, you'll be like, Mark's a friggin' idiot. Like, seriously, dude, you should have been taking a couple months off. But, hey, I'm a small business owner, and these lights and all this shit has got to get paid for somehow. And I don't want the government to give me money for it. I'll earn my fucking way through life. All right, here we go. Now, this may not be quick. And if this doesn't work, because I wanted to tie this in, instead of pop culture, I wanted this question to be tied more into getting people to start thinking about survival, wilderness survival, bushcraft, land navigation. As a matter of fact, and I'll come back to that, in a little bit. There's some land nav things and some other stuff, but my question is going to have to do with celestial navigation, because I'm big into getting away from all this modern, this is great. It gets us connected. But when your life is on the line and you're out there in the woods and you're doing stuff, you got to have that. And, you've got to have it inside, and we don't know what we don't know, and everybody's got to start someplace, right? So this is just one thing that hopefully you either know the answer, and that's awesome. And if you don't know the answer, it gets you to start thinking about, wow, all of this stuff around me, and I never even really thought about this stuff. And, again, you don't need a GPS. And how many of you guys and gals hanging out with your friends have the GPS in their car and they drive all the way around the city and you're like, you could have just taken a left and just, it's right over there. Stop following your fucking GPS, learn your city, learn your routes, get a map. And even maps aren't perfect, but okay, I'm supposed to be here. Well, there's a hilltop, there's a water tower, intersection, resection, think your land navigation. Oh, I'm actually right here when I thought I was over there. And then just to let you know, on the CLS After Darks, that will be a conversation in one of our After Darks. That's going to be a fun conversation talking about some military related stuff and orienteering, land navigation. You already know I'm going to pick on lieutenants, and I was a lieutenant at one point in time. So, but I worked my way up to the ranks, private all the way to E7, then became an officer. And it didn't matter. The moment I was a lieutenant, there was just like, shut up, lieutenant. I'm like, but I used to be a platoon sergeant. Just shut up, lieutenant. Like, whatever. All right, here we go. The giveaway. Alpha, here we go. Actually, let me just get caught up here because these came in. AVV. AVV throwing me under the bus. Yeah, maybe this is a bad giveaway question. I'll come up with another one. If this fails, I'll come up with a second one. AVV, you are talking about traveling by the stars when lots of people can't read a road map. Amen, brother. Yeah. And then Alpha Omega, maps don't have to recalculate. Yeah. And that plus or minus 5 meters doesn't go to 50 meters. And then if your satellites get shot down, or, whatever, but here we go. Okay. So I guess I got to preface this. So the moon has phases. And I'm not expecting everybody to know all these things, but if you kind of break it down by phases, it starts at 0, and don't, you can quote me on this, I guess, if you want. I mean, just look at this. It's usually like a 7-8-7-8 type of split. So 0, and then first quarter, 7 days. Then and then half, see where I'm going? 8 days later, and then 7 days later, and then 8 days later, and then back and forth, right? And so on and so forth. So think of a first quarter moon. So, and that's called waxing, right? So as that sliver, so I'll just say it this way too. Maybe I'm probably already given too much away. The moon, just like the sun, moves from east to west. The moon chases the sun across the sky. That's why we have so many great ancient histories and ancient, what's the word I'm looking for, stories and folklore about, the moon and the stars. Shit, one of the greatest movies out there, Last Mohican. It's kind of a cheesy scene, but he's sitting there and they're in that Indian burial ground. That's how they escape, and he's talking about his ancestors and their story about, and from her body, the moon pulled out and threw out the star. Anyway, good story, right? But that's how we get that stuff, right? Celestial bodies. You're just sitting around. You don't have your cell phone. You don't have your Xbox. So you're paying more attention to everything around you. And you start seeing, hey, that star is always here, and this is always there, and this is what the moon does. And you start learning, and you can start, well, and to AVV's point, I mean, I know you're going to agree. Like, if you're in the military, that moon phase is important to you. And so is before morning nautical twilight and evening nautical twilight. All this is important to you, especially before the day of infrared and night vision goggles. I first came in, it was PVS5 or PVS4s, and then you had the PVS5s. I mean, that was, think of basically barely an improvement from what we had in Vietnam as far as like the starlight scope. You're out there doing patrols, and maybe you had one of those, per fire team, so you knew this stuff, and you knew when to travel and how to travel and use this to your advantage. So Alpha's already trying to jump ahead, and he's saying waxing gibbous. So yeah, that is actually, yep. So in that first, when it goes from new, when it goes from new all the way into those first 7 days until it comes to well, through that. Yeah. So you've got that crescent shape or a gibbous. I'm trying to think of what it is and trying to do it off the top of my head, but that's what you're getting at. So okay, so now my photo is going to look like a waxing gibbous, but I mean to say first quarter, right? First quarter, half moon, right? A half moon, right? So you know, as you're going from the first, you know, those first 7 days, and that's where you're getting that waxing gibbous, and now it just looks like it's split. And by the way, and I'll give you a little cheat, the side of the moon that's illuminated, because the moon chases the sun. So the side of the moon that you see that's illuminated as the moon's coming through its celestial path, that's the side of the moon that's closest to the sun. And that can also tell you what, you know, time it is. And that's what we're kind of getting at here. This is going to be a question about time. So without further ado, now my picture is not quite accurate because I wanted to give you that a little bit of a gibbous, that little bit of an accent, so you can kind of see this. So here we go. I want you to tell me what time of day it is. Now, my picture really sucks, so I might have to do something different. But if this fails, let me know. A first quarter moon, right? And I made it look a little bit like a gibbous, just so you can kind of tell. I want you to see, you know, what side this would have been illuminated by the sun. First person to tell me what time of day this is gets the black concealment caddy. And there we go. So that little shape I drew, just so you can kind of see the moon, that's what I was trying to do, right? And as I said, the part of the moon that's illuminated is always chasing the sun, right? So it's closest to the sun, right? You know, and when it's on the opposite side, when you get into the waning side of the moon, oh, that is definitely a good, that's what do they call that? Somebody gets a prize just for a good entry. Dan, he's saying it's Miller time. Man, I swear to God, I wish it's Miller time. 84 cal Reb Scout 3 a.m. negative. Seriously unfunny 1800 negative. Johnny Walker's getting pretty damn close. Pretty close. You're in the ballpark. I mean, you guys are actually all getting there. And I'm here to tell you, John, your answer, John, should have been time to drink another beer. God, okay, this got out of control. I got no one to blame but me. Dark side of the moon. All right, here's all I was trying to do. Okay, just stop. Nope. Okay, so stop trying to answer. I'll do a different one. I'll do a different one here having to do with navigation. So all I was trying to say here, and this is how you can use the moon also as a clock, right? So if we didn't have fake time, you know, if we just stuck with standard time. So the question is, so a full moon, when it's at its highest point, so when a full moon is at its highest point, what time is that? That's midnight, right? Full moon, highest point, midnight, right? And like, so my little gibbous moon, here's my sun, is chasing the sun, right? But the moon rises approximately 50 minutes later every day. So with each passing day, you know, that's why we've got these 7-8-7-8 cycles. And as with each passing day, a little bit more of this moon starts rising a little bit later, rising a little bit later, rising a little bit later. And, you know, and the sun is still making its transit through the celestial heavens. So when you get to this first quarter, the sun would be right here. And when the sun is right there, what time is it? Noon, unless it's overcast. Actually, there's overcast doesn't even matter, right? So you can use your watch, and I'm sure everybody knows the shadow tip method, but you can use your watch to tell the direction and the time. Even if you don't have a watch, you can still tell direction, whether it's overcast or sunny, you can still do that. I'm sure, again, like I was saying, everybody knows the shadow tip method, and maybe you don't. I mean, it's not a hard method, but you can do the same thing with your watch. And here, I'll just give a stupid example. I apologize for my artistry. It was stupid, but so this moon is rising, right? Or correction, he's at noon when the sun is here. because when the sun is setting, this moon will be here and he'll be a full moon approximately 8 days later, because that's about how long, again, 50 minutes every day. So when the sun finally is setting, because this guy comes up 8 minutes later, he'll actually be here at midnight. That makes any sense? I hope it makes sense. I probably screwed that up a little bit, and that's on me. So I'll just do a different one. Telling directions from a tree. There's 2 different ways to do this. Am I overdoing this? It's 40 minutes. Maybe I should just stop. Well, no, AVV. It's not just see, these are the technical questions. Now we're getting into it. Yeah, because, where is because the Earth is rotating on its axis, right? So we're tilting, but general concepts are still going to be the same too. Like, so another little thing when you start seeing this, go out into your night sky and just, it isn't perfect every time, but here's like, this is supposed to be my crescent moon, right? My waxing or waning. Draw a line between those tips. And where does that line generally point to? Now, again, where the Earth is, where you are, on the Earth, southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, north, central, where you are, it's going to vary a little bit, but that generally speaking is south, right? And again, time of the year matters, where you are. It definitely matters, right? But just learning that stuff and getting into it, and we got 84 Cal Reb Scout. I need to take a course on this. That information is all out there, and this is the stuff that we all should have grown up with. That's all I was really trying to do with tonight. So here's I'm going to try to make this. And then Big Vis is saying he was ready for a North Star thing, not a moon phase clock. Smiley face. North Star, kind of easy, but there are other constellations that you should know as well, because, again, to who just said it, AVV knows what I'm about to say. Now, he lives a few hours south. I'm assuming AVV is down from around the cities. I know he's from Minnesota. He said that before. I'm farther north. Even that difference. Hell, even just being one state east or one state west, makes a difference on where the sun is and how that impacts you in your day. But just even being, farther north, as that tilt happens, look at how the North Star is rotating, or correction, the Big Dipper or the Little Dipper is rotating. And, the kind of rule of thumb is, the Little Dipper spill into the Big Dipper. You take the end of the Big Dipper, which, kind of points like this, and then take that distance, make a line and do 5 times that distance, and you'll have the North Star, which is the handle star of the Little Dipper, which is a weird looking dipper, but that pours into the Big Dipper. Well, later this year, in early next year, as we get into winter, you might not even see the Big Dipper. Right? It's down below the horizon, and you're really just seeing the Little Dipper, if you can even make that out, back to everybody's comments. So you have to know other constellations. So you're like, okay, well, that's this, and then there we go. Like Orion is another great one, for if you want to look into that. So back to 84 Reb Scout. Yeah, I mean, yeah, get out there and do some of your own studying. It's not that hard. And it's incredibly important stuff, and you don't need anything else, right? So VTech, he likes taking, VTech. If you guys don't follow VTech Moonwalker, if I can give him a shout out, he takes some really good nature photos. This is what Instagram used to be good for, and VTech's doing it. Gene, I love this info. The only cycles I know are Norton BSA's motorcycles. And Alpha Omega, yeah, that moss doesn't only grow on the north side of the tree. All right, maybe we're going to just change this. So I'm okay. Stay with that, Alpha. We'll come back to you, AO. And then AO's got a comment for VTech. And phone does pretty good with pics. Yep. Hey, and if you really seriously want to get into this, now here's where technology does really help. And I've seen the app on both an Android-based app and then a Apple Crapple-based app. And I do think, even though I don't like Apple as a company, their app on the Apple phone, there's a couple night sky apps, and it's just so much fun. Forget the TV, forget everything else, forget this. Go outside on a clear night if you got that app, and then start learning constellations, and you'll just be so surprised at it's so much damn fun. I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, and have an adult beverage. All right, here we go. This is going to be, but this kind of goes into something that Alpha Omega just said. And there's so many, and I could do 3 different versions of how to use a tree to tell direction. And moss isn't always necessarily a reliable one because it doesn't always grow on. So you've got to look at that. And so one of the other things I was going to say about a tree isn't a reliable one either. You've got to take a step back, look at the totality. If trees are really tight and tightly compressed, well, what do branches do? Branches, try to spread out so they can gather as much sunlight, through the leaves, photosynthesis, natural production, But if they're tightly packed, the branches are going to try to go straight up. But if you can take a step back and look at your forest and, okay, well, this is not the right group of trees to look at because of how the trees are growing. But if you take a step back and find trees doing their natural design, you will see that, generally speaking, the south side of the tree, the north side of here, I'll just try to, before I just do the giveaway, here's my shitty tree. The north side of the tree will have its branches trying to go straight up, something like that. So this is the south side. Here we go. Yep, doing it backwards. The north side of the tree, its branches are going to try to be reaching because it's got to go from, behind itself to try to get up and get as much sunlight for photosynthesis as possible. Where the south side is going to be kind of laying out and just absorbing the south side energy, right? Again, this would be different in the southern hemisphere than the northern hemisphere. So, check what you're saying. All right, real quickly, 84 cal, nice. AVV, you can get a copy of FM 325.2026 for 10. Yeah, there's all kinds of manuals and stuff about this. There is one that I really like about I think it's called Navigating Without a Map and Compass, and it's from like the 60s because it has everything in there talking about, and I don't live on an ocean, but like, what if you were on a ship? What are the things that you can tell by nature that help you understand, oh, there's an island over there. Even seabirds, migratory birds, like there's so much stuff that you can use that nature provides that you don't require a GPS for. So again, I'll look into that one. I think pretty sure it's called Navigating Without a Map and a Compass. If you find a book like that, I think this book was published in like the 50s or the 60s. Pretty damn good book. And then Gene's given AVV a shout out on that 3-25.26. All right. So that's just, again, it's the same thing with anthills, termite hills, right? Like an anthill, just even here in North America, I've done this so many times just to confirm what I'm saying is actually true. Cause you always want to call bullshit on yourself, right? Like, okay, that's true. Then you walk out in the woods and you find just an anthill in the woods, right? An anthill in the woods. Look at their debris field, right? And that debris field like makes a zone, just like, well, and then see, here's another way, if you know the winds in your area, snow drifts, sand dunes, right? Well, ants, what kind of creatures are ants, boys and girls, right? Well, besides being just, crazy fucking insects, right? But they've got to stay warm, right? So are they going to put the debris to the south or the front facing part of their hill, right? That heats up, and that thermo, whatever you want to call it, comes down inside of the ant mound, keeping them all alive and happy. No, they're not going to put their debris as they continue tunneling. That debris, generally speaking, if this is my anthill, that's pretty shitty. All right. But here's my anthill. That debris generally go out in the woods and figure this out. And it's not always going to be perfect because, again, what if there was a tree right here, right? But this generally, so the face of the anthill is generally speaking in a southeasterly direction, generally speaking. It's not 100% perfect every time. Same with termites, but generally speaking, that's something you look at. But hey, if this doesn't make sense and you start looking at other things, you're like, that seems like that's pointing in a different direction. Well, again, like I said, well, maybe there's a big friggin' oak tree right there and there's no sunlight coming in from the southeast, right? Well, it kind of also makes you wonder, what were the ants doing? Why did they do that, right? But probably because that was probably good terrain or good ground for them. And they're just waiting for the sun to continue passing more to the south, to the southwest. not as good of sunlight getting it in the latter part of the day as the morning into the noon. But all right, giveaway. You can tell I've got it. I'm just rambling right now. Here we go. This one might. I'm kind of screwing this up a little bit. Think of like terrain features. Yeah, this isn't going to show up very well. Maybe we'll just hold off on the giveaway until next time because this is kind of going down a road I didn't anticipate. So I just mentioned a tree. So, in the woods, trees fall over, right? You can see into the inside of a tree. It's generally speaking, just think of the ant, right? A tree is a living being, right? They're awesome. They're awesome living beings. Like they're just totally so unappreciated, right? Trees and everything that they provide for us as human beings in this glorious blue marble of a planet we call Earth. But if you can imagine, and for you military guys, think topo lines. When topo lines get really tight, what does that usually mean? It's usually a cliff, it's very steep, right? When they're really close together. And when the terrain is flat or, maybe a little undulating, but then the topo lines, the topographical lines on your map open up. Imagine seeing a tree, and that's what the rings inside of the tree kind of look like. See how I try to draw it where they were tighter on the bottom and then they kind of opened a little bit more on the top. What do you guys think that would tell you right there? And I'll just kind of see and I'll just add a little comment here. AVV, no book is better than grandpa. Yeah, damn right. That's where I learned half of this shit, coming down to the Duluth area from where I grew up and hanging out with my freaking grandpa. I didn't even read the rest of your comment. And I already hell yeah. I got that shit hanging out in the woods with my grandpa when I was 8 years old. And shame on the freaking goddamn people in that county in Georgia. Shame on you. That sheriff, that deputy, shame on you. A 10-year-old kid is walking a mile from his house to the town. I was probably 11 years old when I was hunting by myself. 12 years old, definitely hunting by myself. Walking from my house to the store, which was a mile away, one way, and definitely was doing that by 10. I just wasn't out hunting. What the hell is wrong with us as a society? And then yelling at the mom like she was an evil person. Man, no wonder we don't know any of this shit anymore because we're not hanging out with grandpa, as AVV is saying. Big Visk, growth rings are wider in the direction of the sun. So Big Visk, Alpha Omega, sun in the upper right. I'm just going to leave you guys on that one. But you see the point I'm getting at. Enough of the studious teaching a class here. Wasn't prepared for any of that. You can tell I'm passionate about this stuff. There's so many ways to do this, and we all take this for granted. And that sheriff's department in Georgia should just be ashamed of themselves. Fucking 10-year-old kid who lives out in the country who probably does that, every other day of his life, walks to his friend's house. I used to do that stuff through the woods to my grandmother's house. That was a mile and a half, 2 miles through the woods at 11 or 12 with a 22 or a 410. Were my parents, well, okay, maybe my parents were parents. I don't know. Oh, let's let that go. All right. Growth rings wider in direction of the sun. Upper right. 84 calorie. Yeah, this is turning into a lol. Yeah, total laugh out loud. And then VTech times have changed, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree. Hey, I'm just going to leave you guys. I'm not even going to answer that. Look it up, figure it out. I mean, this is the kind of, and then look at that thing with branches, look into anthills. I mean, this stuff is out there. AVV gave us an FM military field manual. Hey, if you want to do that, the Ranger Handbook wasn't quite as good. I remember that as a, young enlisted guy. The Ranger Handbook wasn't quite as good, but there's a lot of good information in the Ranger Handbook too. Matter of fact, there's a whole lot of publications that have come out since then that take a lot of the information, condense it, and make it very very compact. So, worst case scenario, if you find yourself out in the woods and shit hits the fan and you're in trouble, you at least have a reference manual, and that's better. And as long as you can keep your head about you and keep your wits and don't panic, you got a fighting chance. And especially if you have some, now I'd like to say, you should have known that ahead of time. Don't plan for a crisis when you're in the middle of one. Get out there and learn that stuff now. Take this winter, take advantage of it. If you can't get out and go hiking and camping, start just spending some time. And I guarantee, as much as I hate ScrewTube, there's still so much information out there in ScrewTube. I guarantee there's somebody who's done a million times better of this in a presentation, in a good ScrewTube video. If not, again, just find that, to AVV's point, those manuals are all over online. It's all not JPEGs, it's all PDFs now. I mean, you can find a ton of that stuff. And then given David, got to go all the way back up. Cool TV. I'm not going to bring the pictures back up, but if you look in Cool TV's, those loadout pictures, you can see he's got some cheat sheets there, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Hey, if nothing else, depending on what, the materials used out of, you could, start a fire, roll up a cigarette, do whatever you could do with it. I mean, you could even use it as an improvised bandage, or get some sap and make an improvised, 100-mile-an-hour tape out of it, and patch something up. And ain't necessarily going to be perfect, but there's all kinds of uses, So me, I always like it, I don't have one around me. Well, here, yeah, I'm getting ready for the meat bag loadout video. So here's a chem light, right? And and I'm sure everybody's seen or heard about buzzsaws, right? So this chem light by itself doesn't emit a ton of light, and it isn't going to attract your attention. What usually attracts your attention is motion. Add some 550 cord to this so you can spin it around like a buzzsaw, but now I tape it so it's more manageable. Now, and I've done videos on how to do tape so you don't get tape residue on top of everything, and that's what this is. But what do I have here? This is a multifunctioning tool. I could use it for emergency signal. Hey, I'm over here, and have a better chance of getting somebody's attention as the chem light's being buzzsawed around. But all of this 550 cord has all the guts. That's fishing line. That's thread for sewing stuff up, to include myself if need be. It also burns. That's fire starting. The same with the tape. It burns. It's fire starting. It's, wrapping two fingers together to keep them mobilized in case you broke them. So now this one little thing becomes multifunctional. So whatever you do, again, whether it's those little cheat cards, your knowledge base, make it be multifunctional, right? And for me, the celestial navigation, well, there's land nav. You got to learn, you got to know map and compass too. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. But there's so much that you can do, and nature provides, and it's all around us. And if we just took a step away from, and again, I love this technology, it brings us together. But if you take a step, and I would, there it is. I guess that's my appeal this winter. Take a step back away from this. Don't sit and watch Rick and Morty. Don't watch, and I don't believe I'm going to say this, don't watch Futurama. Don't watch Rick and Morty. Use that time to watch an educational video, get a book and read a chapter. Somebody will help me out with this. I don't know a lot of the names. I just had it. Lundeen. I read one or two of Lundeen's books after I left the agency, and I really was impressed. I mean, he's the guy who wears socks, right? He doesn't, that guy. Love him, hate him, I don't care. But is the information good? So just all I'm trying to say is do some of that stuff this year, because tough times still are right around the corner. We still got a lot of heavy lifting to do, and it ain't going to be easy. So don't just go, whoo, it's game over and our side won, if that's how you view it, right? You still need to be prepared, because there's still a lot of time. Here, I'll just kind of end it on that. I guess this is maybe getting a little political. January 20th is a long time from now. And all of these changes, I hope they look good, and maybe this will take effect. But that's at least 180, if not 360, if not even more time before we can start seeing, and I hope I'm totally wrong. I hope 180 days from now, the economy is just crushing it and everybody is crushing it. I really, because I don't want anyone to get crushed. I hope that's the case. It just flies in the face of all math and science and finances and everything. I mean, we're in trouble. So get out there and start doing some of this stuff and take advantage, of the winter to do it. Let me just read some final comments, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'm really surprised I made it an hour. Look at my face all red, and I got like a long sleeve shirt on underneath even my new hoodie, and I'm still, yeah. Anyway, here we go. All right. I know. Woe is me. Oh, wow. Mark's got a little. Would you like a lolly? What kind of thing? All right, here we go. Big Visk. Yeah, look it up. Just happened. It just kind of started making news a little bit earlier. I think I saw it on, I can't remember if it was Tuesday. Today's Thursday, right? Yeah, I think I saw it on Tuesday. Started getting a little bit more attention yesterday and into today. People are kind of talking about it. It's a mom she's married but her husband, because of their work status is kind of gone quite a bit. And the kid's 10 years old and it's out in the damn country. And somebody even went so far as to look at their crime stats and just see how, to see if there was even any remote truth or credence to what this deputy started freaking out and look, somebody could have kidnapped. Yeah, and if frogs had guns, snakes wouldn't fuck with them. At some point you just got to shut the F up and quit, what if in it to death, right? Yeah, and you live out in the country for the love of Pete. All right, Alpha Omega. And hey, thanks for, seriously, guys, thank you for really carrying this tonight and all the chat you guys have been doing. And maybe that's why, maybe I felt bad. VTech was like, what? I just got here and you're ending it. But you guys have kept this going and you've kept me energized. So I really appreciate it. I apologize for my stupid little graphic. I'll do, you know what? Okay, maybe I'm being a little bit of a dick. Come over and watch CLS After Dark tomorrow night. Well, you guys can leave a comment. Part of me is like, maybe we'll do a giveaway in CLS After Dark tomorrow night. And I'll just come up with something that is not as, esoteric or something. Or we'll just hold it next Thursday during next Thursday's Law. And that's what they're going to be called, the Loadout Lives. Great guy, helps out with the thumbnails. Blackbeard, aka Steven. I was just trying to think about how much I want to talk about right now. I want to save the stuff for next week, but excuse me, but we're going to do a meat bag loadout. By the way, and thanks to all you guys, the meat bag is called the meat bag because it was based off of a World War I, World War II design. I did not know that it also very closely resembles the bag that Indiana Jones was carrying in the first Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is based off of, I think, a World War II pro mask or gas mask bag. So I actually had to go and watch that movie last weekend, while I was sitting here trying not to throw up. And you could just tell it's sad thing when movies and they don't have anything in the bags. It's like watching movies and no one's got any plates in their plate carriers. I'm just like, why even wear a plate carrier then? Put plates in it for the love of Pete. All right, Alpha Omega. Speaking of signaling, the YouTube channel Invention Incarnate shows how to make outstanding smokes with more output than military smokes. And there are some, there's some stuff like that out there. Thank you for bringing that up and sharing that. Yeah, there's, again, Screw Tube used to be really, really good. I'm surprised they're even letting that actually still take place. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can do it yourself. Now, hey, you do you, and I ain't condoning one thing or the other. You got to be safe and, and consider your environmental considerations and, and don't be that idiot who's going to be his own YouTube when you do something dumb and you get like a 3rd-degree burn. Wear gloves, think about your safety protocols. When you're doing this and constructing it and learning it, it's not combat unless you're trying to learn how to construct it and do it in the middle of combat, which again is piss poor planning. And that's not the right time to prepare for a crisis. But thanks for sharing that, Alpha Omega. AVV changed his boot laces with 550 cord. There it is. That's old school. I don't even think they allow infantrymen to do that anymore, AVV. But, but there it is. Yeah. Get rid of your boot laces and change it up with 550 cord because your boots, even without laces, are still on your feet. And that 550 cord, you can take all the guts out and then still use the kern mantle. That's the outer part of it and still have laces. I mean, if you want. So yeah, good. Thank you, AVV. Great comment right there. Great point. Cool TV. I've always known how to use map and compass. Ex-Royal Marine for a headmaster at his boarding school. He knows his way around the bush. Craft. Yep. But don't forget, and I ain't poo-pooing that because you absolutely do need to know how to use a topo map and a compass. There are different types of maps and different compasses. So, just take that in consideration. And then at the end of the day, the map isn't always the terrain, right? So just like anything, have your pace plan, have a primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. And all of the stuff I kind of wanted to do was, rely on your map and compass or rely on your GPS. but you better have that skill set and that knowledge in your hip pocket. So when that primary goes down, or that primary has you driving into a really bad part of town or all around town, then you can, like, switch in and do the command override and say, no, we're going to head south. Well, how do you know it's south? Well, because I'm not an idiot, or east or west, I'm just going to end it before I keep going. I get so many friends that tell me, then just turn left. And then I'm like, you do know that that's meaningless when you say it that way. They're like, no, you turn left. I'm like, well, what if I was heading south on that road? If I turn left, if I'm heading south, if I turn left, what direction am I traveling? And you can just, like, what are you talking about? Like, if I was heading south and you tell me to turn left, I'm now heading east. If I was heading north and you tell me to turn left, I'm heading west. Which fucking one is it? You're like, well, you CIA guys. I'm like, oh, it has nothing to do with the military or the CIA. It's like cardinal effing directions, boys. All right, VTech. He's like, got to talk to you later, guys. He's got to go. Thanks for joining in here, VTech. Yeah, this was way longer than I anticipated. Alpha's giving you a shout out. AVV. Okay, there it is. And AVV's been around, and we'll go with his comment right there. We'll do it. We'll do it next Thursday. So during the loadout next Thursday, we'll put this guy back up. I apologize. You can, and I got no one to blame but me. Well, I could try to blame you guys for being such a good group of people in the live stream, but you can tell I'm passionate about it. I got distracted and I probably didn't do a super good job of it, but I got to take responsibility. So we'll do it next week, and I'll probably add a little icing on the cake just to make up for, tonight. So I appreciate that. And yeah, I think you're really going to enjoy the episode with Blackbeard. We got more information that'll come out during that episode too, but then we'll talk about the meat bag a little bit more. And then Cool TV, there's paracord and there's paracode. Most cupcakes know absolutely nothing about 5 mil spec. Yeah, and that's a kind of a good point. And hey, good night to you, Cool TV. Thanks for being with us tonight, David. Appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys just taking the time here tonight. Went a little bit long, but you guys got me to rally the forces, and here we are. Did a little bit more. We'll do the giveaway next week. And I'm not making excuses. I'm throwing myself under the bus. I was not prepared for tonight, but just like Halloween, I'm like, I got to do a live stream. That's Thursday night, and I just got to suck it up, buttercup, and do it. But I wasn't really super prepared tonight, and that's on me. Next Thursday, we'll be prepared. Way better job. And then I hope I can kind of really help kicking this over the next couple of days. Tomorrow's CLS After Dark. I got a rally for that. We'll see how that goes, but I'm taking the weekend off and rallying the forces because I got to start doing gear videos. I'm like 2 weeks behind where I want to be. So we'll start catching up here. It is an excuse, but it's also just it is what it is, and it's life. And I'm focused right now on using my limited energy to make sure I'm getting your guys' orders out. But I do appeal to you one last time, please, if you can, take the winter, use it, and get out there and do some of your own research and do some studies, right? And even just with your watch, I didn't even talk about the watch method. I'll just end it on this real quickly. Again, hemispheres are different, and you don't have to see the sun. You don't even have to have a watch. If you can determine where the sun is, and oftentimes, even in limited visibility, there's still shadow. So you can just even put a stick in the ground, right? The key thing here, though, is you kind of need to know the time, right? So, and that's how you just got to know, and that's why I hate fake time, right? But if you generally know the time, and if you know how to use your fingers, we'll maybe do that another one, for, how to tell time by where the sun is on the horizon. And that also works in a whole bunch of other things, range estimation and whatnot. But if you can, like your clock, okay, I know it's 2 o'clock, it's 1400. If you point the hour hand at the sun, or if you've got a stick and you have a shadow, have that going along that, draw that out, go halfway, go from the hour hand, and then come to where midnight is and find where halfway is, and then split that line. And now you've just created, I'll just leave you on that, right? So the watch method, the shadow tip method, there's just so many different ways all the way back to the beginning. Look at your environment, if moss is predominantly on the north side stream, but as 88 Cal said, that's not always the case, right? So know your flora and your fauna, right? Know your vegetation. know your forest, know the types of trees. Not all trees, because every tree is a little bit different, but just next time you're in the woods, just take a moment. Your family's going to think you're weird because you're just sitting there looking up into the branches. They might think you're looking for predator. You could even make a joke about it. Like, there's something up there major and ain't no man. We're all going to die, make a little fun, but look at it and just start examining branches on trees, right? And just take a look at that. And you'll start seeing that, wow, these on the north side are usually, they might be out, and they, depends on how many trees are around them. But, generally speaking, on the south, and if they can climb above them, they're reaching to the south because that's where the sunlight is. And that's necessary for them, to produce energy, photosynthesis, da, 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 da. So I encourage you, if you can, get out and just learn some of this stuff and just practice it. And a lot of it's fun. Or just get the app on your phone and start learning about, celestial navigation at night and, how the stars, back to AVV's point, the Big Dipper, or the conversation we're having, that's not always in the same spot in the sky. It's lower in the horizon, the time of year, all that kind of stuff comes into play. So check that out. Alpha Omega, it's all good. He'll try to be here next week, and then he must have had a bounce, and he said, you got, take care. Hey, Alpha, if you're still here, Alpha Omega, thanks for joining in, and hopefully we'll see you next week. And for everybody else, I hope we see you tomorrow night over on CLS After Dark. He's, I've been talking to him for years. He's a great guy. He's been on the channel a couple times, Chappie from Arizona Trail. Oh, I totally forgot. I'm going to save that for next week. We got a couple other things going on in the Centerline system, so it's not just me always talking. And the cool thing is, the individual who's volunteering to do this is one of you guys who is during the, who chimes in. You see him chatting in the live stream and me leaving comments quite a bit. And we're going to actually have somebody, and he's the first person to say, hey, I don't know any of this stuff. This isn't my background. I'm new and I'm starting just like everybody else. And he's already stepping up, and we're kind of working it behind the scenes, and he's starting to shoot some videos doing these things and showing you this stuff from I've never done this before either. I might succeed, I might fail. And if I fail, we'll sit and break down why I failed. And if I succeed, I'll point out the things that really helped and made this, whatever this task is, easier. So stay tuned. I think that's going to be really cool. And we got another thing, and I when I hold off on that, we'll bring that up next Thursday. So some other little things that we're doing to make it interesting and just be able to share knowledge. And you guys can help each other out just like I'm trying to do. So we got the new Wrangler coming in. Hi from Canada. Alpha Omega is still here. AVV just looks like he's knocking out, and I'm going to knock out. You can tell I'm getting snotty, and I don't want to be like blowing my nose and shit while we're talking. So on that note, hope we see you guys tomorrow night. Cialis After Dark. Going to be a good conversation with our friend Chappie from Arizona Arizona Veteran Trail Association. We're going to be talking about nature. We're going to be talking. Well, we'll talk about Veterans Administration as well. But we're going to actually talk we're going to talk a lot about how nature is so important to your health and even your mental health. And, and I'll share my little stupid story about how, my world may have gone down a completely different path once I left the agency, if I would have lived in an urban area, as opposed to coming back to where I am, around my old friends and family and being out in the woods. And so we'll talk about that. And that's what his program does, is tries to explore, and get vets out into the woods, out into nature, to use that to help heal your wounds, whether those are physical or mental. And that's just a damn good thing. So that's our Cialis After Dark tomorrow. Hope we see it at 1700, have an adult beverage. I'm going to maybe have to try to get some brandy, because I think my adult beverage would be a hot toddy. But we'll see how it goes. Again, I rambled a lot tonight, you can tell, and I apologize. I'm, my headspace is a little off. And getting better, though, getting better. And I wanted to be here with you guys because you guys and gals kick ass. So, hey, if you watch this, if you're watching it tonight, thanks for the chat. As always, leave comments, tell me things that you want to talk about more. Doesn't always have to be about my gear. I mean, we're going to do the loadouts with gear, but we could even do these. And all right, Mark, instead of your stupid whiteboard, why don't you take a couple minutes, put together a fucking PowerPoint? You were in the military. You should know how to do PowerPoint. Put a little PowerPoint together and let's just do this. Or maybe we do it as a class, or whatever. I'm all ears. Oh, and then, and I got another announcement. I'm going to have to save that for next week. as well. So another way in which we can all do this without it having to be on ScrewTube. I'll announce that next week. I rambled too much and I'm not prepared to go into it now. So, and then we got learn me something, get some rest, brother. All right, everybody. Really appreciate you guys being here tonight, putting up with my bullshit. Yeah, we'll just see you tomorrow night on CLS After Dark, and then we'll see you again here next Thursday for a loadout live with our good friend Blackbeard, aka Steven. You got questions, comments, you know the deal. Reach out anytime. I will do the best I can to help you out. Even if you call me and I just got done throwing up, I will still try to help you out the best I can. All right, until then, keep thinking, keep moving, and even if you're sick, never fucking quit. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week. All right, be good. Woo!